This is lesson 6.6, which is adding and subtracting polynomials, including combining like terms. So really quick, let's break down the word polynomial so you know what it is. Poly is a prefix, which means many. And nomial is a root, which means term. So this is a many-termed, I'm going to add the word expression here. So an example of that would be this here. This is many terms. Got 3x squared plus 2x minus 6 plus 4. So it's a many-termed expression. This is a polynomial. The standard form of a polynomial has the highest degree first. So if I were to put this in standard form, the highest degree, and degree means exponent. The highest degree is 3x squared, so I'm going to list that first. The next degree or exponent is 2x to the first power, so plus 2x. Now notice that y is also to the first power. And so the second thing about standard form is it has to be in alphabetical order, ABC order. So x comes before y, so the x term will come before the y term when writing things in standard form. Then minus 6. As you see, it goes 2, 1, 1. It also goes x, x, y. Moving on to the next two vocabulary words, we have a term. Terms are separated by positive and negative signs. So in this case here, here's a positive sign, negative sign, positive sign. So each of these in between that are terms. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 terms in the example. I'll draw an arrow. The degree is the highest exponent of a polynomial. So that's how we refer to, we can classify it or talk about the polynomial by its highest exponent or degree. So the highest exponent here is a 2. So this up here is a second degree polynomial because that's the highest exponent. 3 more vocabulary words. We have monomial, binomial, and trinomial. The only thing you have to pay attention to is this prefix, mo, bi, and tri. Mo means 1, so a 1-termed expression. For example, 4x. That has 1 term and that's it. Binomial, bi means 2-termed expression. Oops. Meaning like 4x plus 6. There are 2 terms making this a binomial. Trinomial is a 3-termed expression. So for example, 2x squared plus 4x plus 6. This is a trinomial because there's 1, 2, 3 terms. So let's go on to some examples. We're quickly going to classify these, and then we'll rewrite things in standard form. When we're classifying, we're putting things into groups. That's what it means to classify something. So for example, you can classify things as like boys and girls. Okay? So to classify things, the first is the degree, then it's the number of terms. So this is a x to the first power, so this is a first degree. Then it has 2 terms, so we call that a binomial. This one, the highest power is a 2, so this is a second degree. This has 1, 2, 3 terms, making it a trinomial. Second degree trinomial. Next one That's x to the first power, so this is also a first degree. There's only one term making this a monomial. Next, x to the third is the highest power, so this is a third degree. This has 1, 2, 3, 4 terms, so we didn't learn a word for that. We call those just polynomials. Anything over 3, we just call a polynomial. Last, second degree, 3 terms, 1, 2, 3, trinomial. For these ones, we were going to rewrite it in standard form. So I'm always going to look for the highest power first, which is x to the third. So 2x to the third goes first. Then I'll look for the next highest power, which is x to the first. So minus 3x to the first power minus 10. The constant just goes at the end. For number 7, this is 2x to the first power. This doesn't have an x. So actually, this is already in standard form. Number 8, again, highest power is going to go first. Make sure you take the sign with it. This becomes negative 9x squared plus 3, because remember, this is a positive 3. In this term, I have an x to the fourth. This term, I have an x to the fifth. This is x to the third. So x to the fifth is the highest. It will go first. Next is the fourth power, so that will go next. Lastly, the third power goes last. Then I have x plus x squared minus 3. X squared is the highest power. It will go first. Then the positive x. Then the negative 3. So now let's do some examples. When you're adding two polynomials, it's similar to combining like terms. So I'm going to solve this two different ways. Method number 1, I'm going to drop the parentheses because this is a positive 1. You would distribute that, so I'll rewrite it. 2x squared minus x plus x squared plus 3x minus 1. And then to combine like terms, I'm going to either put a box or I'm going to highlight the like terms. This has an x squared, and so does this one. Notice I highlighted the signs as well. So 2x plus 1x is 3x squared. Then I'll move over to the x terms. Negative x plus 3x. Negative 1x plus 3x is a positive 2x. And then minus 1. Okay. Next one, I'm going to do this a little differently. I'm going to rewrite the first set in standard form. So 5a squared minus 6a plus 12. Then when I rewrite the second part, which I would distribute a positive 1, I'm going to line these up underneath their like terms so that I can add straight down. So 7a squared goes underneath the a squared. Negative 10a goes underneath the a. Negative 4 goes at the end. Now I'll add straight down. 5 plus 7 is 12, a squared. Negative 6 minus 10 is a negative 16a. 12 minus 4 is 8. So as you see, when you add straight down, it's all lined up and you get your answer. Next, we're going to talk about subtracting polynomials, which is different. Subtracting polynomials requires distribution. So you must first distribute a negative 1. Taking a look at method number 1, 3x squared minus 2x plus 8 minus this entire quantity. So I need to distribute a negative 1 to both of those. Let me rewrite the first set. Then I'll distribute the negative 1. Negative times a positive is a negative. X to the fifth. Negative times a negative is a positive 4. I'll combine like terms. So x to the fifth. Here's another x to the fifth. 3 minus 1 is 2x to the 5th. I'll move on to my x terms because that's the next highest power. That's the only one, so I'll just write it down. Then 8 plus 4 is 12. Okay. Method number 2, I'm going to do the same way as the top one, so I'm going to line things up. I'll rewrite this first set in standard form. Then, when I distribute the -1, I'm going to write it underneath its like term. -1 times a positive is a negative a squared. Negative times a negative is a positive. This is the constant, so it's going to go back here. 4. Everything's lined up, so I'll just add straight down. -3 minus 1 is a -4, a squared. There's nothing to combine with for the 2a, so I'll just write it down. 1 plus 4 is 5. Choose the method you prefer to solve everything else.